Okay, so have you ever been in a situation where you're forced to make like an impossible choice? One that could change everything, not just for you, but like your whole family.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, today we're diving into a story from Genesis. It really explores that dilemma.
Yeah.
We've got these excerpts from Genesis 44 focusing on Joseph and his brothers, and it's a story just full of family drama and deception. Stakes are really high in this one.
Yeah, it shows how family dynamics and these power struggles can play out, in just incredibly complex ways,
Yeah.
especially in a time and a culture that is just so different from our own.
Right, yeah. So, for those who need a quick refresher, let's set the scene. Joseph, the favored son, is sold into slavery by his brothers because they're jealous.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a dysfunctional family, right?
Yeah.
But then he rises to power in Egypt through a series of events. And here comes the juicy part. A famine hits the land, and guess who shows up in Egypt, desperate for food?
His brothers.
His brothers.
Unaware that the powerful Egyptian official they're dealing with is the very brother that they betrayed years ago.
It's almost like he's orchestrating this huge play, right?
That's for sure.
But instead of just revealing himself, Joseph decides to test his brothers, see if they've changed at all.
Right.
And to do that, he plants a silver cup in Benjamin's sack. Benjamin is the youngest brother. And then he accuses them all of theft.
Think about that for a moment. Joseph has all the power here. He could have easily just revealed himself, punished his brothers, gotten his revenge.
Yeah.
But he chooses this more complicated path, almost like a psychological game. It makes you wonder what's really driving him, doesn't it?
It really makes you question his motives. Is it about forgiveness or is it about control? He has them totally at his mercy.
Yeah.
And the text even describes the brothers tearing their clothes in distress and swearing up and down that they're innocent.
Oh, wow.
They even point out that they returned the silver they found before, which I think is an interesting little detail.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That really underscores how important oaths and vows were in those ancient societies.
Right.
Their insistence on their innocence isn't just about avoiding punishment. It's about upholding this, sacred cultural code.
Right.
It's more than just words. It's very deeply tied to their sense of honor and their standing in the community.
Yeah. So here they are, freaking out, thinking they're doomed. And then Judah, one of the older brothers, steps forward. And instead of denying the accusations or even throwing Benjamin under the bus, he throws himself on Joseph's mercy.
That is a pivotal moment. He's not just pleading for Benjamin,
Yeah.
He's accepting this collective guilt for the whole family. It's a really powerful statement about family bonds and how much responsibility they carried back then.
Right.
In their culture, what one person did could affect everyone.
It's like he's saying, we messed up, we're yours, just tell us what to do.
Exactly.
And then he lays out their whole family backstory, focusing on their father. Remember, Jacob believes Joseph is dead. Right. Losing another son, especially Benjamin, would just crush him.
It's interesting how Judah presents this information. It's like he's not just stating the facts, he's appealing to Joseph's emotions. He paints this picture of this aging, heartbroken father just clinging to these remaining sons. It's the human desire for family and for connection.
It's almost like he's pushing Joseph's buttons. But wouldn't that be a risky move? What if Joseph wasn't moved at all by this emotional appeal?
Oh yeah, it is a gamble, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that Judah is sensing something in Joseph, like maybe a little vulnerability beneath that facade of power that he's giving off.
Yeah.
He's appealing to the part of Joseph that still remembers what it means to be a son and a brother.
Right. So we're seeing this incredible tension, right?
Yeah.
Between Joseph's desire for control, maybe even revenge, and Judah's just desperate plea for mercy. And then Judah does something shocking. He offers himself as a slave in Benjamin's place.
Whoa. That's not just a gesture. It's like a total upheaval of the power dynamic, To offer yourself as a slave, that was the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
It meant giving up your freedom, your future, everything to protect someone else. Makes you wonder, what makes someone do that?
What's so powerful about this is that it makes us ask ourselves the same question that Judah's facing. Like, what are we willing to sacrifice for the people we love? It really makes you think about your own values.
It really does. Judah's self-sacrifice is just extraordinary, It shows how deep his love and loyalty are, almost unimaginable. But it also shows the immense pressure and responsibility that family members had in ancient societies.
Right.
It wasn't just about you. It was about everyone, the whole family line.
Like all their fates were tied together. So how does Joseph react to this huge offer? It's a pretty intense situation.
Well, we can't forget that Joseph has also been through betrayal and suffering.
Right.
He was a slave. He was falsely accused. He was in prison. He knows what it's like to have no power to be at someone else's mercy.
He's definitely carrying a lot of baggage. So are you saying that maybe this whole test wasn't just about revenge?
I think it's a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah.
If Joseph just wanted revenge, he could have just, done it.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He chose this really complicated emotional path, which I think means he's dealing with something deeper, something beyond the anger and hurt.
Okay, so there's a deeper game here, but what's the point? What is he trying to do by putting them all through this?
Maybe he's trying to see who they really are now.
Mm-hmm.
Have they changed? Do they feel bad about what they did? Are they capable of the same kind of love that Judah's showing? Remember, family wasn't just blood, it was about legacy. Maybe Joseph needs to know that his brothers deserve that legacy.
That's interesting. It's like he's trying to see if they've learned from their mistakes, if they've grown, but is this a little extreme? I mean, putting them through all this.
It definitely makes you think about whether what he's doing is right.
Yeah.
Even if he has good intentions, is it okay to manipulate his brothers like this?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough question, one that really makes you think about leadership and power.
And, Joseph's become very successful in Egypt. He's second in command to the Pharaoh. Must have been tempting to use that power, to get back at them.
For sure. Power can really bring out the worst in us, our need to punish. But with Joseph, it seems like it actually made him better. He chose forgiveness, even though it must have been so hard.
Okay, so tell me, how does this all finally end?
Well, imagine this. Judah's words are just hanging in the air. His offer, to become a slave, it echoes in the room. The brothers were all huddled together, scared, thinking this is it. And then something changes.
The tension is just so thick. Come on, don't leave me hanging.
Joseph just can't hold it back anymore.
Yeah.
He tells everyone to leave the room. He needs a minute.
Yeah.
And then he tells them who he is.
Wait, he just comes right out and says it. Hey, it's me, your brother you thought was dead. Like that. It's an amazing moment. And just imagine the shock, the disbelief, everything they must have been feeling. It's a family reunion, a therapy session, a courtroom, all at once.
Okay, I have to know. How do they react? Is it just chaos? Tears, hugs, accusations, what happens? I can only imagine what they must have been feeling. Like all of a sudden time has stopped and they're those kids again, with all that jealousy and anger.
Yeah, it's like this huge moment of truth, They can't hide anymore. And the text talks about their fear. Remember, they did sell Joseph into slavery, and now he's this powerful official. They're probably thinking they're going to be punished, maybe even killed.
It's a lot to deal with. So how does Joseph react? Does he just let all that anger out? I mean, it must have been a pretty awkward family reunion.
What's amazing is that Joseph is actually really kind.
He cries, and he says he understands why they're afraid, but that he doesn't blame them. He even says that God used what they did to him to save people during the famine.
It's like he's looking at it in a whole new way, finding something good that came out of something really bad. Do you think maybe he'd already figured all this out before, like come to terms with it, before he told them who he was?
That's a good point. Maybe this whole test wasn't just about his brothers, but about Joseph himself.
Right.
Like he needed to deal with his own feelings, to forgive them, and maybe even himself for choices he made.
So it's even more complex than we thought. It's not just about who is right or wrong. It's about how people heal and come together again.
Absolutely. And Joseph shows us that forgiveness isn't about forgetting or saying what happened was okay. It's about choosing to move on and building a new future, with empathy. That's a really powerful message even today.
So what happens next? Does everyone just move to Egypt and live happily ever after?
Well, not exactly. There's still a lot to figure out. Joseph brings his whole family to Egypt so they can survive the famine. He takes care of them, protects them, and eventually he and his father, Jacob, have this amazing reunion.
It's like he's rebuilding their family, but on this new foundation of forgiveness. It just shows you how strong family can be, even when things go really wrong.
And we can't forget about the idea that God had a plan in all of this. Like even when things are bad, there can be good that comes out of it.
It really makes you think about how we understand our own lives, how we find meaning even when things are tough. It challenges us to look deeper, to see things from different angles, and to believe that things can get better even after really painful experiences.
And I think that's what we should all take away from this. What does it tell us about second chances, about fixing broken relationships, not just in families, but in our own lives? That's something to think about, something worth exploring more.
It's a good reminder that hard times can change us and that forgiveness, even when it seems impossible, might be closer than we think.
We encourage you to keep exploring this text. Read it, think about it, talk about it. Until next time, happy exploring.